The Golden State Warriors just fooled everyone again. As you all know, the Warriors have been back to their winning ways and they are currently 2 wins away from getting back into the top 5 of the Western Conference. So in today's video, we're going to be going through 5 drastic changes the Warriors are making that the rest of the NBA don't know about, and how the NBA aren't prepared for what's coming for this Golden State Warriors in 2023. So make sure to like this video, and if you want more Golden State Warriors content like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hitting that red button down below. But let's get straight into the first drastic move, and the first drastic move is Stephen Curry is coming back very soon. Now, as you all know, and like I mentioned, the Warriors have been back to their winning ways and it has been great for this team. However, Stephen Curry hasn't even stepped on the court in the last 5 to 6 games, and they are going to be on a massive win streak once he comes back. It seems the Warriors have figured out what to do without Stephen Curry, and when it comes to the other players, on Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, on how to actually play right, and adding Stephen Curry back with his 30 plus points per game would honestly be insane, and it will add so much more depth to this Warriors team, especially moving forward into 2023. Now, currently Steph Curry is averaging 30 points, 6.6 rebounds, and 6.8 assists, so he is putting up some insane stats. And if we look at his 3-point field goal percentage, he's actually shooting 43% from the 3, which is one of his highest ever, and an effective field goal percentage of 62%. Now, a lot of you, and especially some people in the comments, have been mentioning maybe they don't need Stephen Curry and that's why they are winning. But I really do think that the Warriors just have figured out how to actually play, and also how to play together as a team from the first unit all the way to the second unit. So I think adding Stephen Curry will only make this team more powerful and will help them get back into the top spot, especially due to the fact that a lot of Western Conference teams are very, very good. But having Stephen Curry back is honestly going to help space out the floor more. It's going to have Jordan Poole really run that second unit very well, and has Stephen Curry continue to lead that first unit. Now, Stephen Curry, although standing at 6'4", a lot of people don't realize, and something that is very underrated about his game, especially as of recent, but I think Stephen Curry has really great defense, and it honestly is going to be fantastic to have him back in the lineup, especially in that starting lineup, because he's going to be able to provide some great defense for this Warriors team. Now, although the Warriors have been back to their winning ways, their defensive rating is still a little bit low compared to last season. If we look at the defensive rating last season, they were actually ranked first out of all 30 teams, and I do think that is fantastic to see, which is one of the reasons why they ended up winning the NBA championship. If we look at this season, however, their defensive rating has dropped all the way to 18th, but I think adding Stephen Curry back to this lineup would honestly help them and continue to help them get that defensive rating much higher, because as the saying goes, guys, defense wins championships. So I think it's fantastic to have someone like Stephen Curry back. Also, the 3 points that he does provide honestly really does help the scoring, especially in today's league. As you all know, in today's league, 3 points really do make and break a game, and if you see Stephen Curry averaging around 11 threes per game and also shooting 43%, that is definitely a huge chunk of scoring that is definitely missing when Stephen Curry is off. So I do think it is going to be huge to have him back, and it's going to make a significant difference, and the NBA is just not ready for it. The second drastic move is Andrew Wiggins returning to the starting lineup. Now, as you all know, Wiggins has been injured for some time now, and he is currently getting very close day by day on being back on the court, and especially back into the starting lineup. So he is on a day-to-day player injury kind of report, and I do think it is going to be very soon we may see him return, and having him back in the lineup would not only help their offense but also help their defense as well. I think that's why Andrew Wiggins is such an integral part to this Golden State Warriors team. Wiggins stands at 6'7", 197 pounds. He's currently averaging 19.1 points per game, 5.1 rebounds, and 2.2 assists. But if we look at his 3-point field goal percentage, he's actually currently ranked first in the Golden State Warriors, where his 3-point percentage is 45%. So he's actually shooting a higher percentage than Stephen Curry, which has surprised a lot of people, and his effective field goal percentage is also 61% as well. So Wiggins is definitely another player that provides not only scoring but also defense, and he is definitely taking a huge blow not being out there. But it seems like it hasn't affected the Warriors, because the Warriors have been winning, so I think adding Andrew Wiggins back to this lineup would only even make them stronger and help them get back to that #1 spot in the Western Conference, which I believe they are able to do. Now, Wiggins has done a fantastic job so far this season, which is honestly great to see, but where I do really see Wiggins providing a lot for this team is definitely on defense. Now, even as a small forward, he's still averaging 5.1 rebounds, which is really good, but his on-ball defense has honestly been fantastic all season. He has kept a lot of NBA stars superstars under 20 points, 15 points at times, even under 25 for some of the best scorers. And I know that may seem like a lot of points, but doing that, especially at an elite level in the NBA, is very tough to do. And Wiggins has done a successful job at that. Like how I mentioned before, that defense is something that the Golden State Warriors must improve on if they want to continue their winning ways. Wiggins definitely provides a lot of defense in all facets, whether it's rebounding, steals, blocks, all that good stuff. That is something that Andrew Wiggins definitely provides. And I do think he is going to get better as time goes on, especially coming back from an injury. It may be hard to adjust, but I think Wiggins, being still such a young player, is going to be able to adjust very, very quickly. So far, we have Klay Thompson out there, who's a great 3-and-D guy. And I think adding Andrew Wiggins as another 3-and-D guy, especially to that starting lineup, would honestly just be a recipe for success. If we look at his numbers as well on steals and blocks, he's currently averaging 1.4 steals and 1 block a game, and those are definitely significant and make or break their defense as moving forward. Wiggins has done a fantastic job playing such a great on-ball defense because he's usually given the role of guarding the best player on the other team, and he's done a fantastic job so far this season, so it will be great to see him back in action very, very soon. The third move is having Anthony Lamb play more minutes. Now, as you all know, Anthony Lamb has actually really gone under the radar because he has done a fantastic job for this team, and I do think we have another superstar in the making. Anthony Lamb is 6'6", 227 pounds. He does play that small forward position, but so far this season, he has done a fantastic job on providing all things, whether it's scoring, defense, and all those things in between. So far this season, he's actually averaging 5.9 points per game. He's also averaging 1 steal, 2 assists, 4 rebounds, which I think is fantastic. But on top of this, he's doing this with only 15 minutes of game time. This is honestly insane, guys, and I do think this really does get slept under because Anthony Lamb is very, very effective, especially with the amount of minutes that he gets. If we look at his 3-point percentage as well, it's very high at 38%, while also attempting 3 threes per game, and his field goal percentage is also 49% as well. And I think it's honestly great to see another role player starting to step up and really starting to give what it takes to be a great player, and he's definitely shown that day in and day out. I think with Anthony Lamb, what he has done so far, it's really great to see, but I do think what he does provide on defense has definitely shown what he's capable of doing. His on-ball defense and his ability to be very strong and be able to play the inside, I guess, post-move position on defense and also perimeter defense has definitely helped him so far this season, and it's honestly helped the Golden State Warriors be able to trust that second unit to provide a lot of defense, especially moving forward with this career. Now, if we look at Anthony Lamb's past games, we've seen him play very, very well as of recent, as he's been given a little bit of a bigger role. If we look at Anthony Lamb's game against Utah, he actually had 10 points and 4 rebounds, and another game against Memphis where they won, where he actually got 11 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 blocks. So this is honestly huge for Anthony Lamb, and like I said, he was doing this under around 18 to 20 minutes per game, so he was been given just a little bump in minutes, and it's seen a significant difference in his output, and he's provided a lot for this team. So I do think if they continue to give Anthony Lamb a bigger role or continue to have him perform at such a high level with a little amount of minutes that he's able to get, I honestly think it's going to be a recipe for success, because when it comes playoff time, you're going to need players like Anthony Lamb who can provide you 10 points, a couple of rebounds, and a couple of steals every single game, especially when the starters need some rest. The fourth drastic move is having Moses Moody getting back into the rotation. Now, as you all know, Moses Moody is still a very young player, but he has a lot of high hopes from not only the Golden State Warriors but the NBA in general that he could be an all-out superstar in the years to come. Moses Moody stands at 6'6", 205 pounds. He does move like a guard but can honestly be so strong and play like a big man that I think it's fantastic to have someone like Moses Moody in this team, and they've slowly been giving him more and more minutes and continuing to push the boundaries of what he's capable of. Now, when it comes to Moses Moody, he's currently averaging 5.3 points per game, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, and also 1 block. So he is pretty consistent, but you do have to remember, guys, that his minutes played per game is only 12 minutes per game. So Moses Moody is in his second season, and I do think it is fantastic to see what he's done so far, but I think they are easing him into this actual role as a role player, and I do think it is going to take some time, but I think as time goes on, especially during this season, he's going to be able to put up some big numbers, especially in some big games. If we look at the past games that he has played, especially with Steph Steph and Curry being out, he's had some pretty good performances. Actually, a recent game against Brooklyn, he actually had 17 points, 4 assists, and 2 rebounds, so that was great to see. And also another game against Memphis, which they actually got the W in, he actually had 10 points in that game and also 2 rebounds. So he's able to put up some big numbers when he's given the minutes, and I think that's what they're slowly trying to adjust Moses Moody for. But like I mentioned before with Anthony Lamb, when it comes playoff time, you're going to need someone like Moses Moody to give you some big numbers, especially with the amount of minutes that they're able to play. If he's able to give you 10 points, a couple of rebounds, and a couple assists, exactly like Anthony Lamb, it is honestly going to help this team and maybe the make or break with them winning the championship and them not winning it. So I think Moses Moody is going to be an integral part. Kuminga and Moody have been kind of linked together as both being the big potential players. I think Kuminga has been given a bigger role and maybe has seen a lot more minutes than Moses Moody, but I do think as time goes on, Moody is going to slowly get a bigger role and slowly get into that. I think one of the reasons why it hasn't worked out the way it was supposed to be was due to the fact that Moses Moody obviously is still a young player, and Steve Kerr definitely wants more veterans out there, so that may be a huge case in the future. The fifth drastic move is that Patrick Baldwin Jr. play more minutes. Now I think this is very important because, as you all know, Patrick Baldwin Jr. actually has been back called up into the Golden State Warriors roster in order to play a couple of vital minutes, and he has done a fantastic job on his recent game back. So he recently played a game against Utah where they won, and he actually had 11 points, 3 rebounds, 1 steal and 1 block, and also did that in only 12 minutes of game time, guys. That is honestly insane. It was a little test, I could tell, from Steve Kerr in order to see what he's capable of, and he definitely did show that he's capable of a lot of great things. And I think this is honestly going to help Patrick Baldwin Jr. not only in the future, but also the Golden State Warriors, especially for this season, to be able to get back into the playoffs and hopefully win another NBA championship. So thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon. Peace.